Welcome, comic book junkies, to another Nighttiger comic book haul video. I am Mike Smith, who will be your host. And I was going to go live today, but I just remembered it's a holiday and everybody's out partying. Sunday's always my day to kind of relax, do things at home in the comic room or whatever I want, because I'm always either cutting the grass or running errands on my days off. So I'm going to have this drink. I think they call it catal in Dominican Republic. It's coffee that's been filtered like 4 times, so it's super potent.
Watch Nighttiger Comics!
Watch Nighttiger Comics!
Nighttiger Comics!
Nighttiger Comics! Nighttiger Comics!
I end up making a batch every Sunday for the road, and 2 sips is like drinking a tall energy drink. So, here on the, I think this is on the right, we got Wild Comics number 4 from 1941. First appearance of this character, which is Pinky. And then here on the left, we have Fantastic Four number 55 from October 66. Just a classic battle. This was really good, of course. Jack Kirby art story, or Stanley story. Can't go wrong on that. So let's get into this haul. So these are all jumbled. Some are eBay, some are LCS. And I just didn't feel like putting an order into them. But I picked this up at Walmart. I think it was $7. Atomic Blonde and Lucy. Atomic Blonde was really good. I'll give that an A+. I think this was, I always forget how to say her name, Charlize Theron's best role ever. And she produced the movie, so she was assistant producer. The actual producer produced the movies with Keanu Reeves. I have not seen any of them. I forget what they're called now. The action movies. I can't remember. I have the comic, and it probably says it right here. The John Wick series. So you know this is really good. Lucy was pretty good too. Probably like an A. Not a lot of action. More sci-fi kind of movie. Had a great premise to it, and I thought it was well done. I'm more of an action flick guy, so that's probably why I gave it an A instead of an A+. But pick it up, Walmart, $7. It's worth it. And this one here online, you gotta rent it. So for $3.50, not bad. Because online, I think you're gonna spend $5 or more. Okay. So I've been watching Jerk Comics. He did a little segment, probably an hour-long segment on Mario Gully and his ant creation, which I thought was really cool. And if you're not a sub to Jerk Comics, check him out. This guy can talk for hours on subjects, and he does extensive research, and you never get bored. They didn't have the original one, so that's by Arcania, which is a Canadian publisher. But Eric Larson did purchase the character and had Mario do some B cover artwork. So this is B cover from, I didn't put this, number 9. I don't even know what year this is. I didn't put the info on the back like I normally do, but just, Eric Larson is not a good artist compared to Mario Gully. Mario Gully is really good. And while I think he was 18 or 20, he was in jail. He grew up in a pretty hard, dysfunctional family, got into trouble. He was in jail. He saw an ant, and he created this character based on the ant. He actually drew the first, I think, 28-page comic book while he was in jail. And it's based on a little girl and her dealing with her dysfunctional parents. They're getting divorced, stuff like that. And she uses the ant in her imagination to deal with these subjects. And so that was the premise of the character. So it wasn't really like your superhero stereotype. And so he got that published, but they they were pushing him to change it to a regular superhero with supervillains and come into the real world with Diana. He just didn't want to do that. And that's what it made his character unique, is that it was part of the little girl. So he ended up quitting, and I guess sometime down the road, then Eric Larson purchased the character from him and changed it into that type of character. So some of these books, I went to the LCS, and I always go to this big LCS. And the good news is they're opening another store in another town over. So that's going to be this month. So I'm going to hit them. I always go there looking for their dollar books. They have this rule. If it's not priced, it's a dollar book. And they do miss a lot of stuff because they have a huge inventory. So I see what I can find. When I have like 3 or 4 hours to spend, I like to just go through the back issue bins and see what I can find for $1, sometimes 2 or 3. But I try to stick to the dollar format. So I found this one. This book can go from 10 to 15 bucks. This is a near-mint copy. It's a classic Jim Lee cover. February 1990, Punisher War Journal number 15. Now I have to say, I read this. It was a really, really good story. And there's a lot of brutality in here too. Yeah, I don't see there's no comic code on this. So there was people getting killed in here, and it was really good. And it was cool to read it because the dynamics of Spider-Man not killing and Punisher killing were conflicting with them, and they worked it out. And like I said, I don't remember who wrote it, but the art was good, the story was good. Now I picked this one up for $1 simply because of the homage color. What is it, Hulk 314 or something like that, or 341? So it's the homage to the Todd McFarlane Hulk Wolverine cover. Actually Wolverine, and then Hulk is in the shadow. Now we got Wolverine here. So a really cool cover. This is by Greg Land. This was a buck. Powerless number 5, December 2005. I read this. This is one of those ones where I think it's like a mini series. You really have to read it from the beginning because it was quite confusing. I didn't know what the story was really about or where it was leading or anything like that. Just that somehow some of the heroes had lost their powers. But just definitely a cool cover for a buck. Near mint copy. And Greg Land. This was an eBay win. It was going for $9. I said, I'll bid $9. If I win it, I win it. I'm not going above that. And I actually won it. It's the last issue of Plastic Man by Quality Comics. Number 64. With a Dick Dillon cover. And it has 2 Jack Cole stories in here. I love Jack Cole's art. Normally I don't care for that kind of art, but he is such a master at it. It's like caricature kind of stuff like you'd find in Mad Magazine. But he puts a lot of detail into it. And it looks really cool. And I read this, and every story in here with Plastic Man was really good. The second artist, I couldn't find out who did the second story. It was more kind of a realistic looking art, like a Neil Adams kind of looking art. And it was just cool to see different renderings of Plastic Man through different stories. And all of them were fantastic. Even the stories were great. And I'm glad they put this story on the cover. Normally they'll put the first story, which wasn't this one, on the cover, which was a little bit lamer. And this one is a cool aliens and rocket ship attacking Earth. And so I'm really glad they used it. I just love the cover. Otherwise, as low grade as it, it probably would have not got it. But it's just a cool sci-fi cover. And that was $10 with like $3.50 in shipping. I walked by, I don't buy this title, but I thought this was a really good cover. They had 2 there. This one ended up being like, I don't know if I showed this in the last haul. I may have. Like a 9.8 copy. The other one had a little ding on it. This is a 1 in 50 Enoch Lee variant of Silk. October 2021. So this just came out. If I had known it was a 1 in 50, I probably would have grabbed the other one. It's a cool looking Good Girl cover. I read this. It wasn't good. It wasn't good. It was probably better than some of the last issues I read, but still was nothing to write home about. If anybody's writing home these days. This was, I was happy to get a new listing. Been trying to stay off eBay and I've been doing a good job. For the last 4 days, I have not looked at eBay, but this is one of the last times I looked at eBay. It was a new listing. It was $25 with shipping. I've always wanted this book, but I really always felt like people wanted too much. I'm never going to find what I want to pay for it. So it was $25 with shipping, and it's a Simon and Kirby creation, Boys Ranch #1 from October 1950. Now, I did read this. There's a good write-up in here on the history of how this title came about. So when Simon and Kirby got together, when Simon hired Kirby in the early 40s, and they discovered they both had a love of the American West, and they started doing research for a title. They didn't know what it was going to be. They just started researching American West and the culture and Indians and cowboys and all kinds of stuff like that. But these guys are so great. They always want to give you what the fans want. So at the time that they were doing this, the superhero was like the big thing. And so they were just doing all superhero stuff. And they both went off. I think Jack joined the armed forces and went off to World War II. Joe Simon, according to the article, had some capacity where he took care of horses for the cavalry in World War II. So they both kind of split up for a couple of years. When the war was over and they got back together, they decided they were going to go ahead and create a project using all their research on the American West. And at the time, they also came out with the first romance book, and then this one here. And so that's the history, and there's a good write-up on here, and there's a lot of cool stuff in here. How to ride a horse, how to make leather moccasins, and a few stories like text stories, and then 3 different Boys Ranch stories on who the first member was after they initially got together. And of course, this is the origin story. Really, really great book. If you can get this on the cheap, I would recommend it. I enjoyed it immensely. I already have this. It was in the bins for $3, and I'm like, I can't leave it for that. Bronze Age Defenders #28, first full appearance of Starhawk, and I believe this is an Al Milgrom cover, but I could be wrong. But I know that Milgrom did the Guardians of the Galaxy title. This is October '75. Just a beautiful cover. Now, if I remember correctly, Starhawk would be the first transgender superhero at Marvel. Because at the end of the original Guardians of the Galaxies, he transferred into a woman's body for some reasons. And maybe you guys remember why. I don't remember. But a beautiful cover, just a cool looking character. One of my favorite characters. I think him and Black Bolt were like my favorite Marvel characters that had the coolest costumes when I was growing up. And I paid $3 for that. And it's probably like a 7.0 copy. Excuse me. So I found another Jim Lee cover. I didn't get, oh yeah, I did read this. This one was not good. The art was terrible. The story was like really bad. But the cover is definitely cool. This is Ghost Rider, and it says With and X-Men, number 26, June 1992. Paid $1. They had 3 of these, and they have a lot of short boxes underneath the bins of their table. And I always check those because they had 2 copies for $3 and this one for $1. Because they mispricing it, and it's a near mint copy. So that's what I'm saying. When you're looking through this store, you can find good dollar books. Like I said, the art inside here was so bad, and the story was so terrible, but just a killer cover. And Jim Lee's hot again, especially his 90s stuff. So I'm trying to find as much as I can for $1. I don't remember what happened in the story. I just remember how terrible the art was. Okay, so I picked up a copy of this from the seller. I showed it, I think, in the last haul. Superior Comics from Canada. It's a romance book from 1952. And so I saw that the other one was going for like $170 to $200 on several different sites, and this seller was selling them for 25 with free shipping. So I jumped on there and bought the other issue he had, Love and Marriage #2, again from May 1952. And there's terrific art inside these. And these Superior comics from Canada, although they're scarce, when you do find them, a lot of times they're in really, really good shape. And I was discussing that with Metarog, and it may possibly because there was no paper drive there, and I'm thinking a lot of these Golden Age books like this were more adult, not oriented, but adults read them more than the kids did in Canada. So they were taken care of a lot better. And this one has a stamp on it too. And I hate when you can't make out the stamps. What does it say? It says Ontario, Canada. Clifford W. Jennings, Ontario, Canada. This book, and I'm always looking for these issues. It's 11 issue run. The later ones, the title changed from Firehair Comics, issue 1 and 2, to West Pioneer, all the way to, I think, number 7. And then back to Firehair without the comics on the title. So I'm always looking for this. I found a nice high-grade copy. So with shipping, it ended up costing me $33.50, which is a steal for this book. It's so hard to get, especially in high grade. So that's Fiction House. That's a Maurice Whitman cover. And this is from spring of 1952. And these can go, collectors know what these are, and they'll go for good money. So this is another one that was just a brand new listing, and I was able to get to it first. And I'm sure the seller didn't really know what he had. Secondly, these early issues of this title, they're pretty tough. If you don't believe me, jump on eBay right now and look. And if they're there, they're going to be low grade $50 and higher. So of course, you're not going to find these in high grade. So this is Crime Does Not Pay number 35 with a good girl cover. Now this says Charles Burrow on it, but for my research, Charles Burrow had a ghost artist that did a lot of his early stuff that he signed. That is definitely not his work. It is just too good for him. He was a terrible artist, and if you'll notice, do some research, go look at Charles Burrow covers, and you'll see some of the later stuff and how terrible it looks. But just a nice, cool, good girl cover right there, Crime. This is from 1944, September, and I paid $31 with shipping for that. A lot of people call me the low grade Golden Age collector because that's what I am. I'm always looking for stuff that's on the cheap. Even if it's low grade, if it's scarce or cool, I don't mind. This one was $100, and this book usually goes for double that. So when I saw it for that, I'm like, I've been wanting an issue of this for quite a while. I don't really have the money, but if I'm going to find one later, I'm probably going to pay a lot more, so I might as well get this now. So it was a bargain for $100. This is by Fawcett, Worlds of Fear. Skeleton cover, number 5, June 1952. And if you go look and you find these on the web or look for these covers, you're going to notice for some reason this series always is miscut really bad. And I wonder if it had to do with the way they made the title, because it's not exactly like straight. So maybe they didn't know where to cut it. But this is notorious for being a miscut series. So with tax, shipping, it was $113. Beautiful cover. I got to read this today. Okay, back to dollar books. Why did I grab this one? Because it's one of my favorite artists, does the cover. I never seen this that I remember, and I didn't know that he did any covers for DC. So this is Paul Galassi. Check out that cover. Terry Austin does the first story in here, the Huntress, If you can find, this is from October 93, number 10, Showcase 93. If you can find this for $1, this is a great read. The first story with the Huntress, and it actually co-stars Azrael the Batman, and she doesn't know that it's not Bruce Wayne, so it's really cool about that. And then you also have, what the heck's his name? Peacemaker's story in here, which I don't think I've ever read one before. And then at the end, you have the Martian Manhunter story, which I loved because if you know me, I love street level heroes. And he's kind of he's from Mars, so he's a cosmic hero, but it's a really down to earth story where he's going to, I don't know if it's the pharmacy or the convenience store just to get some Oreos. And that's where the story begins and really has a good heartwarming ending to that. I recommend this. It's $1 book. You won't go wrong. It's 3 stories. It's of course a bigger size than a normal comic with a killer cover. That'd be my $1 pick out of this haul. So this is a 3-issue miniseries by Marvel. I didn't know that they did any Phantom. So Lee Falk's the Phantom. He may be the first superhero. He came out of the pulps. Him and Mandrake, created both by Lee Falk. This is February 1995. It has some really good art in it. It's a thick book, cardstock cover, and high gloss interior pages. And I have to pick up this 2 and 3 now. I just thought that was a really cool cover. I almost put it back, but something about that cover, I just couldn't leave it. Okay, so new comic books. I picked up 4 issues of this. First appearance of Miles Morales. This story was so short. I think it's only like 6 pages long. And I didn't think it was anything to sneeze at or write home about. But, you know, I thought down the line, I'm not a specker, but if I can buy a book cheap and I think it has potential down the line to maybe hit 50 or more, why not? It's usually what I do with them is I trade them for bigger books. So, unfortunately, I put the new comics at the end. I rarely do that. Like I said, though, I just picked up the pile and I said, let's do this. So this is a book that I wanted. My other LCS was out of them. Fear State Alpha. Now they bring Poison Ivy back again. She's kind of been on a hiatus for quite a while. I'd probably give this like maybe a C plus, B minus. It was all right. It was good to see Poison Ivy and the interaction with her at the end and Harley Quinn. But I don't know. Batman just seems to kind of have taken a downturn. It's like almost like Tinian doesn't really care about the title anymore. Of course, he's leaving soon. And I've read the latest issue. I think it was 112. It was horrible. Miracle Molly has no business being in the Bat title. It's like a bunch of clowns now running around. It's like they're trying to capture the popularity of Harley Quinn and the Joker through these new characters, Punchline and Miracle Molly, and it just comes off really bad because Batman's supposed to be a loner, and in the beginning of Future State, they stripped him down. He had no money anymore. The police were after him, or whoever it was. I forget the name. The state. I can't remember the name of them. Anyways, they were after him. So it felt more like a Batman book. And then all of a sudden, now we get these new clown characters in here. And a lot of the story is based around them. Just does not feel like it's a Batman story anymore, a Batman comic book. And when Tinian started off and took it over, I think it was issue 89 or something like that. It was going really good. I really enjoyed it. But it feels like DC's is pushing this Future State narrative on him. And he has to write what they want, and no longer has more of a free reign over the character. So I'm not really liking it. But there are quite a few first appearances coming up. And the one thing I do like is the Ghostmaker. I don't know if Tinian created him or not, but the Ghostmaker seemed more like Batman in the backup features. Not these last few, but the earlier ones. I was hoping he'd get his own title. Oh, before I go, so you know, of course, I love all your comments. All of you give me some fantastic comments, and I have all these great brothers in the community and sisters who watch the channel and you know give me their insights, what they like. But I just wanted to single out a comment from I think it was the last haul video I did. Now this is from a YouTuber called the Sorcerer. And he said, damn, that intro was the most well intro in the world. I really like your channel. Now, that comment and a lot of comments you guys always give me are so positive. That always makes doing this fun and worth it. But this touched me for other reasons. So I said, thank you. You know, it's well worth that. It makes it well worth the effort to hear stuff like that from my viewers. And so he commented back, well, we don't have many comic book stores in my country, and he never told me what country that was. So I watch a lot of vids like these to get the good ones, or I'm guessing the good knowledge about comics, and then buy them online. And I guess I know who to watch because you really know a lot about comics. And I appreciate that. That humbles me. Of course, I don't think I know everything. I just try to share the things that I've learned. And so his channel, I sub to it, but he does a lot of Minecraft videos. And even though I own the 360 game, I've never played it. My nephews play it a lot. They actually post videos on YouTube. And I always feel like if I start to play or get into it, it'll be another addicting rabbit hole that I'll be going down. So I kind of have not played Minecraft just yet. Maybe when I retire, I'll get into it. So I just want to thank not only all of you, but I want to thank the Sorcerer. And again, just thank you. Thank you for the wonderful comments. And I think I want to start sharing comments from now on, and because it just makes this worth it. I've kind of been on a hiatus. I have some other videos that I want to do, like kind of mini documentaries about comic related stuff, but I just felt like lately that editing it takes a lot of work. You don't understand. If you do a 3-minute video, sometimes it takes me 8 hours to get that video the way that I think it should be presented. So it's a lot of work. So I've been taking a hiatus on the comic documentary kind of stuff. But that's my haul. I hope you enjoyed it, and tell me what you think. I want to know. Did you like something? Did you not? I just read a comment about a certain artist that I said the cover, I don't like it. I hate it. Every time I see it, I'm like, ugh. And I forget the artist's name, Brellum or Broyle or something from Batman. So someone made a comment, you're really being hard on him. And I have nothing personal against that. Some art it's like nails on a chalkboard when you look at it. And you know what I mean. Because I'm sure you have your favorites, and then you have your ones that it's hard for you to get through the comic just because you don't like the art. And the art has to be decent to get through a comic. The story has to feel compelling and not bore you because you just feel like you don't want to read it anymore. So there are a lot of comics like that for me, but the majority of what I read, I love, because I love comic books just like you, and I guess I feel like I'm rambling. Maybe this is caffeine is making me talk. But I want to share. I watched some live shows this week, so this is running on a half hour, so I'm going to get out of here. Just some stuff if you want to watch. John Wick Comics put out a good live show on reviewing Nice House on the Lake, which I would like. I think I might do one because I just read 1 through 3, and I liked it, and I thought it was good. And I'm not going to get into it because I'm going to save that for the review video. Anyways. So that was if you want to go back and watch that, you'll enjoy it. And then, of course, I was on with Gray Man on Wednesday morning. It was just a fun hangout. And I watched Mark Spector. He just did one on beer and comics where he gets a subscription to different beers. And he showed some really cool comics he found at an antique store. And there was one other live show that I watched, and I wanted to share it with you. And now I can't remember. Oh, Bubs. The No Faces chat on Monday was really fun. They did water covers. They showed really cool stuff. And I don't get to watch that No Faces chat as much as I want to, because when it's going on, it's usually I'm getting off work and I'm exhausted after a 10-hour day. But every time I watch No Faces Chat, I have a great time. And I also watched Grader's Notes. They did Thor, I think it's issue 314, a cameo appearance of there's the superhero group with Nightwatch and everything. I forget who it is now. That was a fun show. I didn't get to stick around. I never read that issue, but so I got to comment on the art and the cover. I have to get that one. Another good show. Grader's Notes. There's a tremendous amount of videos I could comment on. Those are just a few live shows that I watched this week. Gratu Orloff, always good. So I'm going to get out of here, but going back and check out some of those live shows. And I'm trying to be more involved in these live shows when they come up. It's not easy. There's so much great content. But appreciate everybody. This is Nighttiger saying peace out.